As you can see by the title, I'm excited to do this video. Today is my top 5 best sitcoms of all time. So, before we get into it though guys, please, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and on the subscribe button as well, hit the bell notification so you don't miss content like this, or for example, my other football videos. If you're into football or other sports, I've got other content coming with other sports, other things like TV and movies. I've got a lot more content coming up, guys, so don't miss it. Trust me, you don't want to miss the upcoming content. But, having said that, let's get straight into my top 5 sitcoms of all time. So, at number 5, I'm going to have to go Scrubs. Listen, Scrubs is amazing. I mean, I've been rewatching it recently as well. I think what's different about Scrubs, okay, is with most sitcoms, it's based around a certain group that you have who are friends, or, you know, they've known each other a long time, or their family, and they do casual things, and it always shows them outside of their work. I love the fact that it's mostly based around their work in the hospital, and it's like, it's 95% comedy, 5% serious. There's some serious episodes and some serious scenes, of course, and some emotional scenes. That's the whole point. They're meant to, it's not all meant to be comedy, it's meant to be some serious that can make you feel quite sad and feel bad for the characters. And then when it's comedy, it's golden. It makes you laugh, it makes you happy, it makes you smile. I love the fact it's all within their work environment. I think it's so hard to do it, basing it off of just their work, being in a hospital. Like, when you think of it, really, how easy would it really be to make comedy about people being doctors and nurses surrounded by ill patients and dying people? That doesn't sound that easy to do, and the fact they pulled it off very well for most of the show, throughout the many years that they had the show, I think was unbelievable. So that has to be my number 5. But my number 4 is The Big Bang Theory. Now, the thing with The Big Bang Theory, I get it. I completely understand, you know, people like me who are not smart at all, you know, very dumb, very oblivious to obvious things. A lot of people will not like Big Bang Theory because they feel like the jokes are too hard to understand with science. They're actually not. I don't understand all the science jokes before that's what people think I'm saying. I don't understand all the science jokes. But every single episode, they're throwing in jokes there. They're saying normal things that anyone can understand any kind of joke. They make a lot of sexual jokes. They make a lot of TV reference jokes. They make a lot of gaming jokes. They make a lot of board game jokes when they're doing like kind of their game-like kind of things. They joke about a lot of things that are quite relevant within the world during that period of time that everyone knows about. It's not all just about them making jokes about science or about elements or particles. You know, they're not doing that all the time. I think if you really focus and concentrate on The Big Bang Theory, you enjoy it, you love it. It's really not hard. Of course, they add in the whole love story with Penny and Leonard. Finally, you get someone as OCD as Sheldon to finally trust someone to come into his life and then like fall in love. It's amazing. I like how, I mean, most sitcoms, everyone I watch has had a love story, but I think what really makes a good sitcom is having a connection with the group you're watching. I think there needs to be some sort of love relationship within that group. I think that really kicks it off and makes it very interesting. Then there's always the funny one. There's always like a serious kind of one. You know, there's always that kind of that group dynamic, which I really, really enjoy. So that's why it is number 4 for me. I understand if people think it's like, you know, the jokes aren't that funny and stuff, but for me, they're just kind of silly jokes that they throw in there, and they definitely make some really, really funny ones that, you know, like some little things like someone like Sheldon. In one of the first episodes, he talks about killing himself in terms of jumping out of a window if anyone touches his toothbrush. That's how OCD he is at the start. Like things like that, like exaggerated comedy, I think is brilliant. So that's my number 4. Number 3, number 3, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Again, similar to Big Bang Theory in terms of workplace. Love the fact, because we've seen it with police things. We've seen movies anywhere. We've seen things like back in the day in the 80s, or Police Academy. Bad Boys is a comedy but action film, but that's still a very good film, including Cops. The other guys with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell, like there's definitely for many years been something there with police officers and comedy and putting it together and it just being amazing. It just works on screen. But I do believe that Brooklyn Nine-Nine go about it differently to them films, and not to mention it's a series, so like you got to realize about series, like, if you enjoy a sitcom, it's because they're keeping the comedy consistent without every single episode that they're doing. And again, there's the same group, it's the same, you're looking at the same police department the whole time. There's change of captains, which you don't like, but then Captain Holt comes back, and Captain Holt is an amazing character. Again, there's that dynamic. You got a serious guy, then you got a funny guy. You got a love story with Jake and Amy. So again, it all fits in very well. It all ties in as your typical dynamic of a group and the love story. And basing off dynamic of groups and love story. My number two and number one are both shows very like close to me. I love them both. I grew up with both of them. I grew up with this one more. I'm gonna explain why I put this one second instead of first. So number two for me is Friends. It was either number 2 or 1 for Friends. I'll explain why. Friends is, if you're a fan of Friends, you just know. I really don't need to really go in on Friends. Like we know how good Friends is. You love the characters. You just fall in love with everyone. Like, even people, Phoebe, Chandler, you just fall in love with everyone. It's a great show. The acting is great as well. There's the love story. I do believe Friends did kick off the dynamic of that kind of group. I think back in the day, I think Frasier was a bit different in terms of the group dynamic because they're all very old. So I think Friends, for me and my generation, and older generations and younger generations who will be watching these sitcoms throughout the years, I think they kicked off that group dynamic that we love to see, and like the love story, the serious one, the kind of sexual player kind of guy, which is Joey, of course, but then Joey has his serious moments, which makes you connect to him more because you're like, oh, I can actually take him seriously this episode. You know, little things like that they add in, and it changed the whole dynamic for sitcoms from the 90s onwards, in my opinion. And I love that. I appreciate that so much from Friends because it brings other great things like number 1 that I'm about to say. So the only reason I'm not going to go too into depth on Friends is because we know how good it is. But number 1 is How I Met Your Mother, and the reason this is ahead of Friends, same thing, group dynamic. Friends ended in 2003, How I Met Your Mother started in 2005, so straight away 2 years after, you're like, okay, sitcom, we'll give it a go. And instantly after the first 2 seasons, you're like, well, it's as good as Friends, or some people might say it's better, some people might say it's just about not as good as Friends. Everyone's got their own opinions on their sitcoms. How I Met Your Mother is by far my favorite. Not by far. That would be a bit bad to say because Friends is unbelievable. But yeah, How I Met Your Mother is my favorite one by far. I keep saying by far. It's not by far, but it is my favorite one because, look, the show, 9 seasons. Okay, that's 9 years. They do 1 season every year. Same with Friends is 10 seasons, 10 years. But How I Met Your Mother is the most well-written and thought-out series I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, seriously, they connect things from season 1 all the way to 9 years later in season 1. But that's not, that sounds very obvious, but it's not. They do little things in each episode, in each season, that just all linked in. Nothing in How I Met Your Mother is irrelevant. It all links together. In season 2 or 3, so this is like either 6 or 7 years before they show the last season of their show. There's literally a scene where they're in a strip club, and one of the strippers, they say, oh, my name is Tracy, nice to meet you. And then Ted says to his kids, that's How I Met Your Mother. And they're all shocked and they go, what? And then you're like, and then he goes, psych, just kidding. And then they're like laughing. And then you're like, oh, cool, end of the episode, that was funny. But little do you know that they've just told you the mother's name in season 2, but you don't even really clock onto that. You just think, oh, they've just said a random name, they're joking around. I mean, again, I told you guys, I'm pretty dumb, so maybe I just didn't clock onto that. But the fact that I didn't realise that made it so much more better for me when I did find out her name was Tracy in season 9, because I was like, wow, that links back to season 2, which was filmed 7 years ago. So, and that's just one example. They have things like that spread out across every season on most episodes of How I Met Your Mother. Nothing is irrelevant. It all links and ties together. And again, you've got Barney, the player. You've got Marshall and Lily, in love, but they're already in love. That's not the love dynamic. They're just like the serious couple that can have fun with the group. The love dynamic is, of course, Robin and Ted, which is what everyone is crazy about for the 9 years straight. And yeah, the whole group dynamic, I love the whole thing with the little... It's like, for example, Friends have their sofa in the coffee shop. But in How I Met Your Mother, they've got their own booth in McLaren's pub. And it's just like, you get attached to not just the group, but like, you're like, it's weird. In Friends, if they're not on the sofa, it's weird. In How I Met Your Mother, if they're not in their booth, it's weird. Like, you get attached to these things. I feel like How I Met Your Mother, they really relate to just general life lessons. I feel like they can actually give you life lessons to How I Met Your Mother. I think it actually really can open up your eyes to how adult relationships work, how friendships work, how love relationships work, just how everything works in adult life and how hard it can be on you sometimes. A guy, again, you know, you got someone like Ted, who's an architect, just trying to make it in a big city like New York, surrounded by his loved ones and friends such as Marshall, Lily, Robin, and Barney. But then during him doing his normal work, being an architect, you get all these complications through the group, and it all leads to him finding his mother, having his children. And unpopular opinion, I like the finale of How I Met Your Mother. I enjoyed it. I like the fact that they got together in the end. I didn't mind that at all. It could have been better. I'm not going to deny that. The season finale could have definitely been better. But I didn't mind it. It wasn't too bad. So guys, that is my top 5 sitcoms of all time. I highly doubt anyone would agree. Well, I mean, I think some people agree How I Met Your Mother is better than Friends, but I can imagine that a lot of people would definitely prefer Friends over How I Met Your Mother. But what I will say is, if you haven't given How I Met Your Mother a full go, you need to binge watch it. You need to watch season 1 to 9. Seriously, you will love it. I think if you do really enjoy Friends, I think if you give How I Met Your Mother a go, then you'll really like How I Met Your Mother. I can't see you really hating it. They're very similar shows in their own kind of ways. So yeah, but guys, that's my top 5. Again, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the support so far on this channel. If you're liking what you're seeing, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. That would really help me out. I'd really appreciate it. But I appreciate all the support I'm getting, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I will be back soon with another video. Peace!